Hi, I'm Camille Scott with Xenoenthusiast. So when I was a freshman in high school, my dad had somewhat of a midlife crisis, and some people's dads get a girlfriend or they get a new Ferrari, but instead my dad left his business and became the director of the Peace Corps in the Dominican Republic, and my mom and I moved with him there for 2 years. And I experienced something that a lot of people don't experience. It's diaspora. And what diaspora means is the experience that you have when you're living in a culture that isn't your own native culture, and all the struggles and the whole dynamic that comes with that. Now, I grew up bilingual. My mom is Puerto Rican and my dad is American. I was raised in California, so I already spoke Spanish, but the culture there was so different and it was so difficult to adjust to that culture. So the amount of struggle that I went through, some dysphoria, but also a lot of new experiences, a lot of frustration because it's a developing nation, so you have to put up with the power going out frequently. We had to put up with, potholes and all kinds of infrastructural dysfunction. But I did learn so much from it as well, because as I said, my dad was the director of the Peace Corps, and so I saw a lot of different volunteer projects that people had put on. Some of the more memorable ones was there's a city called San Pedro de Macorís where there's a certain percentage of the population that suffers from hearing loss, and it's part of the gene pool there. It's, I think, like 5% of the population, but they weren't really aware that these kids were deaf. They just thought that they were non-responsive and kind of dumb. And so a Peace Corps volunteer there set up her project to set up a school for the deaf. And what she did was she set up a little school. She trained 2 different teachers in sign language and also taught the parents and the students sign language so they were able to communicate to one another. And by the time her Peace Corps term was over, after 2 years, she left and the school kept running. And so it brought a lot of awareness to the community, and it was really wonderful to recognize that these were actually intelligent children, they just couldn't hear. Another Peace Corps project that was really impactful was a woman had gone in for a small business project, but when she got to Santo Domingo, she noticed that there were packs and packs, like dozens and dozens and dozens of women in big groups on the Malecón, which is something like the promenade along the beach, that were prostituting themselves. And so what she did is she'd go out there every single night and she would talk to those women one at a time and try to convince them that they could have a job with dignity and they could learn skills in order to be able to get them off the streets. And so she helped them get jobs in factories and sewing factories and other kinds of jobs, and help get them off the street and safe. So when I arrived there as this young American kid, I think I arrived there with a lot of arrogance, and little by little, with these kinds of experiences that had a lot of impact on me, to realize actually how lucky I was and how much I had been taking for granted. So the amount of personal growth that I encountered over those 2 years was really, really powerful and really strong. And then not only that, but when I moved back to the States, it was yet another level of diaspora or culture shock, because I had been outside of America for so long that when I came back, I got what they call reverse culture shock. And I was shocked by how ignorant and unaware Americans were about what was going on in the developing world, and how they took for granted so much of the things that they had. So it is my mission to try to get more Americans to travel abroad in a meaningful way, take on meaningful travel outside of the resort so that they can experience diaspora and experience the personal growth that comes with overcoming all these struggles to be understood, to understand what's being said, to adapt to a new culture, the humility that comes with it, but also the empowerment that comes with it. Because I really believe that if more Americans did that we could really affect social change both abroad and at home. I'm Camille Scott with Xenoenthusiast.